An earthquake on the Cascadia subduction zone is probably the single greatest natural disaster facing the United States. It's capable of a magnitude 8.5 to 9 earthquake every 300 years or so. The last one was about 316 years ago. We've seen these subduction zone earthquakes recently around the Pacific Rim, in Chile, in Japan, and that's the type of risk that we're facing here in the Pacific Northwest. A challenge for us, and a unique challenge, is that we have this legacy infrastructure. We have a lot of bridges and buildings that were built before we even recognized that risk. And that's why our risk here in the Pacific Northwest is really greater than what they face in Japan or what they face in Chile. We started the Cascadia Lifelines Program about 3 years ago, and it is a research consortium fully funded by lifeline providers in the state: ODOT, PGE, BPA, Port of Portland, Northwest Natural Gas, as well as members from the water sector, EWEB, Tualatin Valley Water District, and the Portland Water Bureau. And they are collectively funding research to develop value and cost-informed solutions for the joint and common problems that they all face in the event of a Cascadia earthquake. Here in the valley, much of our infrastructure is built on what we call the Willamette Silt. It was deposited by ancient floods and is really a unique soil to our Willamette Valley. And it's critical for us to understand how that is going to behave in an earthquake. How that behaves is research that is going on here at Oregon State as part of our Cascadia Lifelines program, and the results of that research is going to determine how and if we need to retrofit our bridges, our pipelines, and our buildings here in our major urban centers. Mobility is key after a Cascadia event. One of our research projects at the Cascadia Lifelines program is looking at transportation corridors, looking at travel times and really the most effective routes to use after the earthquake. And what that allows us to do, it provides insight to our state and local governments on where they can make their best investments on retrofitting bridges or overpasses. It also gives our partners, our utility providers, ideas on where they should focus their efforts so that they can have efficient movement of repair crews after an earthquake. And frankly, that's the type of work that gives really every citizen in the state of Oregon insight on how they'll be able to get around after the earthquake, how they can see their families, how they can get back to work. Preparing for this Cascadia event is going to cost billions and billions of dollars. And one of the things that we're trying to do through the Cascadia Lifelines program is really find what we call a value and cost-informed ways to prepare for this earthquake. One of our projects is looking at these simple brick buildings like electrical substations or pump stations, and how can we cheaply retrofit those. The project we now have finishing up that will be released this fall shows cost-effective ways where we can essentially saw cut brick walls and put in reinforcing steel to allow them to survive an earthquake and not collapse and damage all the expensive equipment on the inside. This is a phase one type of retrofit where we can prevent collapse, but also prevent the need of having to replace the entire building today, and it gives us time to find the best ways to invest our dollars going forward. Looking forward, I think the state is moving in the right direction. I'm very happy that the governor has recently named a chief resilience officer, and I think we're starting to take those first steps. But this is a bigger problem than just the state of Oregon. This is the single largest natural disaster facing the entire country. And I look forward to not only our state government stepping up, but also the federal government and our federal delegation taking an interest and taking a leadership role in really helping the nation prepare for this inevitable Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. I'm very proud that we just released an online tool called OHelp. It's another one of our Cascadia Lifelines projects. What this does is allows a business, a homeowner, and our lifeline providers the ability to initially assess the hazard given an address, given GPS coordinates. So it allows the general public to put in the address of your house and look what is the liquefaction hazard, the landslide hazard. What levels of shaking do you expect at your home or at your business? And the tool is streamed to our member organizations so they can actually use that in their GIS systems so that they can assess their networks that are distributed around the state of Oregon. This is our OHELP tool for downtown Portland. What we're showing on the screen is the lateral spreading hazard. Green means that there's low hazard, and as you move from yellow to orange, that is an increasing hazard, where that highest hazard is along the Willamette River. You can also look at landslide hazards, bridge damage assessments, fault rupture, ground shaking, and tsunami hazard anywhere in the state of Oregon.